Hey guys, welcome to the Cole and Tabor podcast. Business as usual. We're here to talk about movies. A couple things are different. I'm living without a green screen because
No, you were just in
you
the
know
ocean before. You've made it to
that's right.
land.
That's right. I finally made it to port, and I can do this show with my land legs. Yeah. What's up, Tabor? How you been, dude?
I've been all right. Been all right. It's been a little dry. There's been some things, but been a little dry.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. I enjoyed the movies we watched,
Mm-hmm.
but I do feel like this was a funny 2 weeks. Like, just nothing to be real excited about.
It's been like 4 weeks, man. It feels like
You're
forever.
right. It has. It's been at least three, right?
Yeah. Not to disparage the things we did end up watching. I think once we start getting into when everything's supposed to start coming out, like the Scorsese thingy things.
Mm-hmm.
But this week we did prepare for a little bit of spooks, and then we also watched a trilogy. You watched the
Yep.
whole trilogy, right?
Sure did.
It was a lot.
It was. It was a lot.
But
It also definitely gave perspective on the whole thing.
on like the whole Poirot,
Yeah.
How do you say it? How do you
Mhm.
say it?
Poirot.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I think that was right. I've never seen any of the other versions of those movies
Me
or
neither.
of that character.
Me neither. You want to jump right into those? The Kenneth Branagh, Hercule Poirot, Agatha
Yeah,
Christie movies.
yeah. Let's go there.
So, dude, remind me what else we watched?
The Nun 2.
The Nun 2. That's right. Do we want to just start with that one
Yeah.
and kill that before we talk about fun stuff?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Let's go to the Nun 2. Did you
Okay.
end up watching the Nun 1?
I did. I went and finished the Nun one after years. And you know how I was like, oh, last time I stopped watching it like an hour in. So as I was rewatching it, I realized I actually really stopped watching it like 20 minutes in.
Yeah, okay. Hell yeah.
It's, oh my gosh, just so inexcusably bad.
I agree.
And the Nun 2 was much
thought
the same. I think the Nun 2 was more of an interesting story,
I
but
think a little better. A little
Yeah.
better, but I don't. But when the first Nun is like horrible, I don't really know
Mhm.
how much better you could be, you know?
Yeah. Like what is there to save? Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And it was just
Um,
weird because, I don't know. I didn't realize that this was going to be like a continuation from 1 to
Same.
2. So I thought you could
Mhm.
have walked into this not watching 1 and be fine, but
Right.
apparently not.
Yeah. Also, given that it's a continuation, I do have some bones to pick on that specific
hmm
aspect of it. At the end of The Nun, the first one, they show that the guy
Maurice is
whose name I
being
don't remember,
Maurice.
yeah, Maurice, is the guy from the, what's their name?
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Warren. From the Warren's video presentation in the first Conjuring movie where they show a
Yeah.
guy that they're exercising and he has a cross show up, upside down cross show up under his skin or whatever. So it's like, oh, the reveal is he was that guy. So the
Yeah.
nun followed
Attached
him
to
out of
them.
there.
But then
Yeah.
you watch this entire movie, which means we have to immediate spoilers.
Mhm.
The, at the end of this movie, they seemingly defeat it, and then they don't have the thing that re-explains why Warren is possessed again.
Yeah. So stupid.
Presumably,
So
at
stupid.
the end of this movie, Maurice is fine,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah, they followed up the plot line of it latching to him and following him out of there, and then they rode that to a conclusion that had
Yeah.
nothing to do with the exorcism by the Warrens.
I mean, they did have an after credit scene where they show the Warrens.
Damn it, did they?
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it.
Oh, well, it's not that big. It's just like,
Okay.
fuck. I'm almost positive this happened, or I'm gaslighting you. One of the two. I'm pretty sure it's just like Ed Warren answers a phone call, and then they're like,
Oh.
"We got some investigating to do." Now
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
you got me worried that I
No, that wasn't in the Nun 1, so it sounds like because I didn't stay. I just assumed there wouldn't be after credits because there wasn't for the first Nun. I mean, I don't remember if that thing was after the credits or not.
I mean, apparently they do. Yeah, okay. So definitely the end credit scene. Ed Warren just picks up the phone. He talks to someone. Clearly, I paid a lot of attention. And then Lorraine Warren comes behind and is like, yo, yo, yo. But,
as she is wont to do.
Yeah. And
what's
then
her name?
also.
Vera Farmiga?
Yeah. Which, did you know the nun is her daughter, I think?
Sister. It's her
sister.
Younger. She's like 17 years younger, but she's her sister. And I was watching the first Nun at like the halfway point in the movie. I was like, oh my gosh, she actually looks a ton like Vera Farmiga. I wonder if they subconsciously cast her for that reason or whatever. And then as I kept watching, I'm like, no, she looks too much like her. Something's going on here. And I looked it up. Yeah, but super cool that they like kept it in the family, so to speak.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
I didn't know until the credits, I saw it, but that's cool. And apparently I don't know, they established that a connection between the sister and the nun, so maybe they or between Lorraine and the nun.
Oh, true that.
Yeah, with the whole St. Lucy thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how they're going to connect it now, and then they're just going to write off the other thing, or maybe it doesn't matter because these movies don't matter.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't think about that, about how both of them have some sort of gift of sensing things or whatever. And in the nun's case, what's her character's name? Because she is a nun, sort of, but she's not the nun from the title.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Little Vergara. So Little Vergara, yeah, her gift is connected to being a descendant of St. Lucy. Yes. So yeah, maybe that was the whole intention with Lorraine as well, which is like at that point when you're literally
Sister Irene,
okay. When you're creating an entirely fictional history for someone who was real, like why do you insist on the like based on true events thing? Or like they open the movie and it's like the first Nun, it's like,
oh yeah,
these events occurred in the summer of 1957, and it's like, how do you get away with saying that? Literally none of these events occurred. Not a single damn one of them.
Off from what the original Conjuring movie that was based off true events. And now we're to this because they've like mythologized themselves so much that it's more like the events they're talking about is like the original The Nun story. So it's like based off of a true demon.
A report.
A true report of a completely different thing that somehow relates to Ed and Lorraine Warren. All of this backstory and history, none of that's real.
So they totally create this scenario where like these people live through this thing, and like, and I don't understand. Like I understand wanting to dramatize it. That's only natural. But if you're going to dramatize it completely out of reality, like you leave reality entirely and you're no longer concerned at all with what actually happened, then what's even the point in sticking with that tagline based on true events? This occurred in the summer of 19 whatever.
Is this because people like true stories more than they don't, I guess? Like, I don't know why that gets people. Does that get people in the movie theaters when it's like, it was real?
I think so. I think it still does. I like knowing that stories are true.
Yeah, but I don't know. They're so far off. But this one's not even the same thing.
Yeah, it's just wacky.
Not even real.
And that's coming from someone who believes in supernatural stuff, including possessions. Like, Yeah.
You don't think this happened?
No. Well, I mean, definitely not how they portray it, but
not
yeah,
this way. Not this way.
Even the inciting incident that resulted in the report that resulted in the investigation by the Warrens, like, I doubt any of it happened at all. Like,
yeah, I mean, famously, Ed and Lorraine Warren maybe were not all that great or whatever.
Not so upfront.
Yeah.
Or forthcoming or whatever the word is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Less than transparent.
But hey, they're making another Conjuring movie, even though the third one wasn't great. And the second one was all right, and the first one was pretty good.
I didn't realize they were making another one.
I mean, they're not going to let it die. They'll never let it die.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. As long as Patrick Wilson is alive. No, even after Patrick Wilson dies, then they'll just, because, Lorraine outlived Ed. So they'll just continue, like, true stories from her life after him.
Or they'll just, like, they'll, once they run that thread, maybe they'll just keep expanding the demons. They need to add more demons. Yeah. Right now, we're only dealing with, like, Annabelle and the nun. And the nun. We need
name was?
Valak?
Yes, Valak. And then Bathsheba is, like, the thing from the first Conjuring movie, which I don't think was a demon, right? It was just a lady, like a ghost.
Something. It's been so long.
Yeah, they've left reality so far behind that they might as well just, like, fully get into it, like a whole in-world demonology.
Yeah, and stop relying so heavily on these things that, I don't know. It just feels like they're lying. It's just a trick.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I say embrace what you're doing and just embrace the fact that this is totally fictional now and just, like, run with it. Make cool in-world stuff.
Full Exorcist, not real. Or does the Exorcist claim to be real?
I don't think so. I don't think it was based on a real case, but I don't know, actually.
Anyways. To the actual, like, filming and stuff. I guess this still is more about aesthetics, but this is, like, one of the first Conjuring series movies that I've noticed, like, blood and gore. Normally, I mean, famously, the first two Conjuring movies have no blood and gore or death.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
Nobody dies, and then in the third one there is death, but not from the possession. It's not from, like, the demon directly killing. It's like the kid killed that one guy.
Yeah. Wow. He was deceived.
Yeah. So like, this is one of the first movies it seems where it's totally gory, totally blood filled. The demons just, like, summoning ghosts and attacking people with ghost weapons.
Yeah. Yep. So for the first Nun movie, the investigator priest guy, whose name I forget, he was cool. Like, he was an interesting character and a good actor, and I liked how he worked in the story. I didn't really care for, like, how stupid or easily fooled he, like, really wound up being in practice for someone who's supposedly, like, the guy for this kind of thing. But, like, overall, I liked his character. Number 2 starts out and he's just like, it's like, oh, he died or whatever, he's gone. So now, like, you're stuck with Irene, which is fine. Like, I liked her character plenty.
Yeah.
And then Maurice coming back under the circumstances in which he came back, where he's traveling through Europe,
demon on his back,
his way toward this thing, being propelled by a demon only when he's unaware of it, sort of thing. Interesting mechanism. Like, I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed having Maurice around for a second movie. Like, he turned into an even more interesting character. And I think it like survived without what's his name, the priest, though I expected it not to. Yeah. And like you said, at the end of the day, I think it was a slightly better movie than the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually a little scarier. Because, like, the
Yeah.
first one was just so... all I could remember, because that movie has basically left me, but all I can remember is that it was a lot of jump scares and a lot of, like, not a real... There was no, like, sense of danger, because you could, like, predict a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, it's not, like, much better. I mean, the gore and stuff kind of helps, and then there's some actual tension building in some of the scenes, and then I like the stained glass Satan thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool until we got to the execution of it. Like, because at the end of the movie, when they're cutting between the 3 different storylines that are happening, it's like the little girl in the bell tower being chased by Maurice, and then the main sister that's trying to get out, and then the other sister with all the little girls that are being chased by Satan. And as it's cutting between, every time we cut to the Satan thing, it felt so useless. Like, why were we doing that?
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, that's happening. It's like, it seems to leave it for long periods of time and then come back and you're like, oh yeah, that's still a threat.
And nothing of consequence happens to any of them. So it just felt very unneeded. But I don't know. But I liked I still liked that idea and I
really liked the design. Like, I thought that monster design was like the coolest thing that's been in either of these 2 movies so far, was just to have that thing there. I do wish they would have used it better.
Exactly. And I don't know, and then the whole ending, it just when these movies have started getting like taking like what's supposed to be like subtle scary possessions and then making them into these like grand action endings, it's very I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
That was the biggest problem with did you see that recent one with Russell Crowe? What was that called?
Oh no. I stayed far. It's like Father the Priest.
So that one, it had Russell Crowe, who's a fantastic actor, and like one of the few people I trust to do accents.
Pope's Exorcist.
The Pope's Exorcist. Yeah. So it had him, and I like wanted to root for it because of that. And it had a lot of good stuff about it. But it that thing you're talking about where they turn it into this big like world-ending explosive like action climax kind of movie ending, like it did that more than any other like possession movie I've ever seen. It was just nuts, just absolutely nuts. Awful. I was like, what are we doing here?
Did you watch the possession movie from last year that also had a nun in it? Nun
I don't
movie
think so.
2022. Pray for the Devil.
No, I didn't. I don't think
it was similar where it like towards the end it doesn't sound like it got as crazy as that, but it was still very big and like so much cutting and like it feels like the scary part of Possessions where it's, you know, like a human body being taken over and being forced to do things like unnatural. Like that part of it is like we're desensitized to those things, and now we have to have these like giant like fucking exploding wine barrels or, you know, or like a multiplying nun that's chasing, like, I don't know, it just seems like there's so much.
Yeah. And it's like, honestly, sorry.
Yeah, when subtle scary is what they should be, sorry.
100% agree. The whole concept of spirits that can be allowed so far into your will and your being so as to like supplant you, that's a terrifying idea in reality. And if there is any reality to it, as I believe there is, like it's just inherently scary. It doesn't need to mimic like Jurassic World stakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be interesting, it needs to embrace what it is.
Exactly.
It's terrifying.
Like, I feel like if you compare it to like Talk to Me, or like Hereditary or something, both A24 movies. I like A24 movies. Both of those movies, like the possessions were more like those climaxes were more about what the spirits were doing, but they weren't like that bombastic. It was like in Hereditary, you're just looking for the things in the background and like scared to explore the house. And then in Talk to Me, it's about what these spirits are convincing our main character to do, and like that's scary. This stuff where I don't know. This other stuff just doesn't work.
No,
but I mean,
not for this genre.
I do think at the end of the day, what makes it better is, like you were saying, the characters, the kind of like the underlying things, like the story's better and how it flows. And I mean, I think the new nun that they added in with Irene, I don't think she has any use. I don't know why she's there.
Yeah, it didn't make sense for like the way she got there. Didn't make any sense. She just boards the train with Irene, and Irene's like, "No, it's not safe. Like, you can't do this with me." And she goes, "You need me." And she's like, "Okay." And it's like, but no, she doesn't. Like, she doesn't need you. You are just a liability. You don't believe in this stuff, so you don't really have a way of guarding against it. Like, everything about her, she's like 12 years old. Like, everything about her makes her a liability. And just the stupid, like, out of the can line, "You need me," was what they used to shoehorn her in and to keep her there for the whole movie. It's just so weak.
Like, the only thing that she ended up doing was they prayed over the wine, and that was it. Like, I felt like that every other time that she was in the movie, she was oblivious to what was happening to Irene. She wasn't there when, like, Irene was exploring the streets. She was basically just like the character that helped Irene when Irene was done doing main character things.
Yeah. I find it interesting how these movies, like, flirt with Catholicism and also condemn Catholicism and, I guess, maybe Christianity, broadly speaking, in some ways where, no, they really kind of, because the stories take place in a Catholic context, they really focus on the rights and the wrongs of the Catholic situation in history and in the present. And it's interesting how they'll target some things and be like I can't remember if it happened in this movie or not, but it did this in the Pope's Exorcist, where they address the whole, like, most possessions are mental illnesses being acted out and da-da-da. And, people have been accidentally killed by exorcists who were zealots or whatever and just, like, didn't believe in mental health. Like, they address those kinds of things and talk about how the extremity of some practices have been, like, a negative thing in the history of, while still embracing, like, these characters who have a belief that is aligned with Catholic Christian belief. It's just weird. They kind of walk both sides of the road, and then right down to like very specifically Catholic things like transubstantiation, like when they pray over the wine, and it turns it literally into Jesus's blood. Like, they went with that as a reality in this story while still, like, lambasting the Catholic Church in some regards. So I just find that very interesting. It's like, it's neither satisfying nor dissatisfying. It's just an interesting approach. And I wonder where it comes from. I wonder, like, what the writer's motivation for doing a dual thing like that is.
I don't know. I mean, it does seem like you wouldn't. maybe they just feel the need to address that, like, in real life, the real life circumstances, even though it is a completely fake movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably just wanting to not get lumped in with some of the stuff that is kind of broadly condemnable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like it relishes in, like, Catholicism at all. It kind of seems like a surface. And I don't know anything about Catholicism. But
I know very little.
Yeah, but it seems like it's like a surface level representation of the religion. Right. Instead of like an actual, like, in-depth one that you would get into, I don't know, that someone who was more reverent for it.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
I thought I don't know. I lost it.
You have lost it, Tabor.
No. Don't
Come
say
on.
that.
JK. Have I shown you my room before?
No, actually, no.
I'll give you the tour real quick.
Okay.
Oh, I can't. Oh, there we go. So you see the bat symbol there? That is a batarang that I 3D printed for my Riddler short film that is still in post because I am lazy. And
Sick.
This was an envelope that one of his riddles were delivered in. That is a bifold card with one of his riddles in it. This is actually the riddle that was inside of this envelope. This is a painting of a non-existent person who is kind of like a Van Gogh in world of this short film.
Sick.
And this self-portrait going missing is kind of the inciting incident. Bookshelf with like a nice, fairly realistic mini skull that I got as a prop for a different short film. And kept because I really liked it. All my books. This piece of driftwood I brought back with me from Tasmania. Hung it on my wall.
Hell yeah.
And I got like office supplies, scissors, pins, tape, stapler, little Ghost Rider figurine right there. A couple of seashells and rocks and things. They're little keepsakes. And a bunch of hats. And a guitar. And you remember Autumn from yeah, she
That's
painted
her
that.
painting.
That was one of the things that she was selling.
I went with you to pick it up.
With her. That's right. Okay. Yep.
It's gonna make a lot more sense when I can see it from your phone's perspective.
Oh. Yeah, I was totally doing it with this camera's perspective. I didn't even think about, like, my finger was probably like.
Yeah.
That's great. I wonder what this looks like. Yeah, and then this one. Yup, everything doesn't make any sense. And so here, I'll do it for you, Tabor. Driftwood. Riddler envelope. Riddle, which you can't really see. And then another riddle, which you can kind of see. Batarang.
Portrait.
Oh, and yeah, you can't see the stuff.
I can't
on
see your
top
books
of the
at
bookshelf.
All. No.
Yeah, you'll see that.
Are those books you've actually read, or books you have?
Only some of them. I have. There's a lot on the to-do list still in this bookshelf.
Same.
Lot.
Dude, I've got hats.
Heck yeah, you do.
That's a memory board.
Nice.
Have I showed you Jake Gyllenhaal?
No.
It's I got this from high school. I did that.
Yeah, is it a paper mache thing?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The paper, the it's not mache. It's a clay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
It doesn't look like him at all. And then 2 signs, and that's all you can see.
Very cool. I dig it. Well.
Yeah, dude. The Nun was all right. Nun Part 2.
Yeah, the Nun was all right.
The Nun was horrible. The Nun Part 2 was all right.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I will probably still watch the next Conjuring movie, but these like side spin-off movies. Because I didn't watch The Curse of La Llorona.
Oh, you know what's funny? That one I did watch, and it, though it's not great, I think it is the best of the spin-offs that they have done. All the Annabelle movies have been garbage. The Nun movies have been garbage. La Llorona was like,
all
okay.
right.
Yeah.
I'll take a little Well, sick, dude. I guess, I don't know. I don't know what else there is to say about The Nun. It's just.
Yeah. The spin-offs, they, for some reason, they stop caring, and each one gets progressively worse. Well, I mean, not exactly.
No, they
like
used to be
said.
a
The
lot
Nun 2 was
worse.
better.
It seemed like Annabelle. I never watched that one, so I can't say. The Annabelle Resurrection. I don't know. I thought it was all right. Didn't watch La Lorena, and then The Nun was fucking horrible. So I guess I've only seen 3 of them. But
yeah, I guess they're just kind of all over the map.
Yeah.
Regardless of time
or where they fly. Because I would say like even the Conjuring 3 wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So just some have been fine and some have been terrible.
Yeah. And the only ones that you could say were good, what I would say would probably be the original 2.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know. Well, I guess.
So on to murder mysteries.
Yeah, on to. We'll start Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, buddy. What
you
got?
I rewatched this one because I'd seen it before. Mm-hmm. I still haven't seen the original ones from the 70s. Yeah. I'd love to go back and watch all those, but I wondered in rewatching this, and I also saw The Haunting in Venice twice. On rewatching him, I don't know if I cared about the mystery as much. And then I was trying to see if there's anything else for me to gather from this one. And I don't know if this movie was any better on a second time, is what I'm trying to say.
Orient Express or Haunting in Venice?
We'll stick to the Orient Express. Because inherently, the mystery, when it becomes spoilers again. Everyone's the murderer. Then on the way to learning about each of the characters, I guess in their each person in their own personal motives, I guess I just didn't care as much,
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I think I had the opposite experience where.
Okay.
So I didn't have much interest in seeing the movie the first time around. People made me watch it at a movie night. By the end of the movie, I was in love. It was one of those rare movies that to me just really took me, and
Cool.
I couldn't have resisted it.
Heck yeah.
And then I think when reflecting on it, I kind of forgot about what I experienced emotionally in the movie, and I focused on the mystery and the solve and just how genius I thought that was. Because I mean, I don't read Agatha Christie books. I don't know what's been done, but I get the sense that was a pretty novel idea when it was made. Mm-hmm. Everyone did it, and so I focus on that aspect when I'm thinking back to the movie. So the second time around, I kind of had forgotten how much heart I thought was in the movie. So second time around, I kind of got teary-eyed once or twice, because I just felt like it was very, very strong emotionally in ways that you don't really, expect from a murder mystery, I guess. So second time around, I think I appreciated it just as much, even knowing what was going to happen and all that.
Okay. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. You tell me more about your experience, because mine's just going to be different.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I first of all, Kenneth Branagh is. I started saying Branagh this week because when you look it up on Wikipedia, I've been saying Branagh my whole adulthood, but apparently it's Branagh. Yeah. I mean, I guess I've never heard him say it, so I don't actually know what he says, but Wikipedia says Branagh. Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor, I think, and he has a number of opportunities to showcase that in Orient Express, like from just like the silly, and then the witty, and like just like offbeat stuff that's inherent to his character, right down to the like passionate and loud and super emotive. Like I feel like all of that gets like put on display in Orient Express in like really satisfying ways. And the way he like talks about the soul, the human soul in Orient Express, when he seems like he's at a point in his life when he's still all beliefs and belief systems and whatnot are still like kind of in consideration for him. But like the thing that he seems sure about is that the soul, whatever the soul is something, and that it has, and that happiness is like some sort of real tangible thing, and because of that, tragedy is tragedy is possible, like in an almost objective sense, because like good, bad, pain, happiness, like we think of these as like subjective terms, but it seems like to him the soul and the human experience, including like the ethereal human experience, is like so tangible and so real that the lack of good or the extreme presence of bad causing like what I think he called a fractured soul or something like that in the movie, is like it represents like real tragedy, like tragedy in a definitive and objective way is almost how he sees it, it seems. Anyway, I just found him like weird and dual and poetic and just very, very interesting. And I think Kenneth Branagh really just hit it out of the park in that movie. And I think the story was very good too. And the two really elevated each other. Okay. That was my experience.
Yeah. I mean, because I think each of them are very different. And in this one, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it with his... I mean, I can't say his portrayal because I don't know anyone else's portrayal. But like...
Sure.
I don't know. When I go back to like the other like detective characters I know, which is like the guy from Knives Out, James Bond, and then the other one I know is Monk.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I just didn't really connect with Kenneth Branagh's performance in this one.
Yeah.
And I think literally, I wonder if it's a lot of just to do with like the accent.
Okay.
It just feels like sometimes it feels like it's landing it for me, and like I can go along, but then other times it's just too silly, and it takes me out of it. Okay. I don't like how Kenneth Branagh, his movies, because I've seen this. In like Beirut, and
I haven't seen that.
I don't get behind like a lot of the perfection that this movie like gives off, like kind of the everything is staged look that you see in like a Wes Anderson, but in this one it doesn't. It just feels too perfect, I guess, like the blues and the highlights and the colors and everything. Yeah. I mean, there's stuff to love about that because, like, once you like connect, like these three movies have such different color palettes and different tones, and like that's very impressive. But like the sheen on this movie just doesn't work for me.
Okay, I get that. I had a coworker who was saying a very similar thing the other day, and I totally get like why that would be the case. It is it is just a very specific look that might not be your taste.
But I mean,
I get you.
All of the characterization and all like the individual like suspects and stuff. I really I like most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like the dynamic. In I also feel like you don't get it because in this one it feels like there's the most amount of suspects.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rewatching it, I didn't feel like I really got to know many of them because some of them it was like one conversation, and then we were at the end, and then the next time we saw them was at the end. Perfect example is William Dafoe.
Mm-hmm.
You meet him the one time, full accent, and then the next time you
yeah.
meet him, it's the facade breaking.
Uh-huh.
But then he's like, I feel like I don't get enough of that character in order for me to like really love him the way that I want to.
Yeah.
And I feel like it happens like with most of the characters.
So it's too spread out, kind of like.
Yeah.
Tries to develop all these things, but
you don't
doesn't
really get
fully
to
develop any of them.
Yeah, or like the relationship with Daisy Ridley and the lawyer. No, the doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's true enough.
But by the time we get to the end, I do like that scene, the scene where he walks out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all the reveal scenes in these movies are great. When he's like, he's about to reveal something, and you think it's going to be like he's going to point out the murder, but really it's just like, I know you're doing a little fuckery with me.
Yeah.
You tricked me into something, and I knew you were lying this whole time. And but then when we get to the actual reveal, and it's like the big explainy, it's like, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, I like all that.
Yeah. In order, taking all three movies together, what order do you place them in, like best to worst?
I think I liked the Venice one more.
Okay.
And then this, and then Nile.
Okay. Mine's just one alteration. I actually put Venice at the end, but I like Orient Express over Nile, and then Venice. Not because I didn't like Haunting in Venice, I did, and I like Death on the Nile, but I'd say that was the order in which I enjoyed
So you just
them.
like them 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I also liked. So I like the cutting back and forth between like the people coming to save the train, and then like the constant, just to kind of like keep us track of time or like where we are.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. What do you think of Johnny Depp?
Loved him. Just killing it, like always.
Yeah.
But when I was watching that, I was like, this wasn't that many years ago, but to look at him now, and obviously there's a difference between having your character on, including makeup and hair and all that, and being on camera.
Yeah.
There's a difference between that and showing up on some of the most stressful days of your life in a courtroom setting.
Yeah.
But like to look at him in the most recent pictures and videos I've seen of him, it looks like he's aged 15 years in 5.
Yeah.
So I found it interesting how young he looked, or like how well he looked in Orient Express. But just as always, just killing every second of screen time. Yep.
It is interesting that they always have the most other famous person in the movie die.
Yeah, right. True that.
And this was Johnny Depp, and the next one it's
Gal Gadot.
And then in the newest one it's Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah. It is interesting.
This one also feels like it kind of it had the biggest cast, but also the most notable cast. Where like it seemed like every person in it was the Wes Anderson or I guess any big movie where every person that was cast was like an A-lister or like a person that you would know.
Yeah.
And then once you move on,
that.
And I think it works better that once you move on, like the next ones are not filled to the brim with all these like character actors that are in everything that you know or whatever.
Right. That was probably like the best way to launch what is now a series of movies, to be like, all right, we're revamping this whole Agatha Christie thing, and here's everybody. Enjoy.
Yeah. All the people we could hire.
Yeah.
And then now, Knives Out, I think, is going to just keep doing everyone's going to be the biggest person you know.
Right. Have we talked about, did we talk about Glass Onion on one of our videos?
No, we started way after that came out.
Okay. Between Knives Out and Glass Onion, which one did you like more?
I think the mystery in Knives Out's better.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like how... No, because they both lean into Rian Johnson's style. So it's not like... None of them's holding any punches.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the first one.
Okay. Me too.
I mean, even though the first one, you don't really get a sense of the character, the detective guy, because he's not really... Yeah. But Benoit Blanc, he's not in it enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or he's like a backseat.
Yeah.
But then like the island and stuff, and the island games and all the... In the newest one, Glass Onion's also... Like, I think they're both great. I think...
Yeah.
I like those more than these.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was actually going to be my next question, was out of all 5 movies, what's number 1? Sounds like Knives Out.
Yeah.
You? Okay. Yeah. I have a tough time with that, like, which is the best out of the 5, because I really, really, really liked Knives Out, and I really, really, really liked Orient Express, and both of them came as, like, big surprises to me. I think I thought Knives Out was going to be good, and it ended up being, like, one of the best murder mystery movies I've ever seen. And I thought Orient Express was going to be, like, mild to uninteresting, and it was, like, really took me for a ride. So I don't know which one I would put as first, but those two lead the rest, in my opinion.
Okay, the first one. Yeah. And I think more it's, like, just, like, I think it's just a style. Because, like, the Benoit, or the... Hercule movies are more serious. They are silly. They're very silly.
Sure. Yeah.
They don't take themselves very seriously. But there are a lot of just, like, dry moments. And then...
Yeah.
Not dry. That's not the word. But, like, you know, like... like, the comedy's just way different.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and then Knives Out, I think I just like the more overt jokes of Rian Johnson, and then I like the reveals a lot more. Not the reveals, the mystery, and then how the subversion, you know, the meme of the subversion.
Particularly strong in the first one.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
The craziest thing, and then when it's like, oh, she did know, like, that's crazy. To think of that.
Yep, for real. Very, very cool.
I do wonder, because we could be a little more loosey-goosey with it. The colors of all the movies, and like the tones and stuff, how they're like the blues in the Orient Express, and then it leads into like to the yellows of like the Death on the Nile, and then like the very like the dark palette of Venice.
Yeah.
Like, that's all very interesting. And then
right.
I think the reason I didn't like Nile as much is just, I don't know. What did you think of the Nile?
I thought that it didn't have, well, it definitely didn't have as interesting a mystery or a solve. It's like, oh, that was it. Like, I hadn't guessed it, so it was like, it was a perfectly fitting mystery. Like, it was well developed, I guess, but it was like after Orient Express, where it's like there wasn't a single second where I was considering
all of them,
that all of them were the murderer. But in Nile, it's like the first person you suspect is her husband. And then, but like, it very quickly leads you away from that. Like, it was impossible. It couldn't have been him. Of course, that's what these movies do. But in that one, it was just like, it just circles back to just actually being him.
Yeah,
and
him and the
with
girlfriend.
the one little twist, of that she's not following them. She's like they're in league.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So it was just a less satisfying mystery to me, mostly.
I think that's right. Because I do track like throughout the movie, like if I can guess what it is. Isn't it kind of cheating that it was everyone? that feels a little cheating.
Yes, but I don't think it's any more so than like no one, which is the case in Knives Out. No one murdered him. An accident happened. You know what I mean?
No, it was a murder.
No, someone intended to murder him,
Chris
but they
Evans
failed.
Murdered him.
He tried to. He failed to murder him. And then Ana de Armas accidentally killed him.
And then he killed himself, yeah.
Yeah, that's true, I guess, yeah.
Because it wasn't accidental, because she gave him the right thing. The only reason he killed himself is because he thought it was the wrong thing.
Right. Okay, yeah, exactly. You're right. So she didn't accidentally kill him.
Yeah.
They were confused.
Yeah. Which crazy.
Which I guess really it was a direct result of Chris Evans' actions. So it's like maybe that does count as him murdering. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
now we have to get poetic
cheating
about the intention of murder and like.
It's definitely cheating that everyone was the murderer, but like I don't think they could have possibly used that solve in a more satisfying way.
I see. I think I agree. And like they all had like a job, and it wasn't like some of them were just there to watch it happen. They all had a responsibility. But yeah, in the Death on the Nile, this one I think is the reason I put this one last on my list is because this one has an even higher like sheen on it, where everything seems every shot besides the stuff you can actually tell was like filmed potentially on location, which is just like the shots of like the river and then like people boating across it, and then like some wildlife shots, like all that I pretty sure was real. And then everything on the boat and that surrounded the characters, all of that was just, it was too perfect. Way too perfect.
Yeah.
And it just took me out of it like the whole time.
Yeah. I think I was definitely less into the, like in general, I appreciated the palette and the look. Yeah. But like all the things they tried to execute with the look, I didn't enjoy. Like any times they really like leaned in, like when they did that weird like presentation of Gal Gadot's character on the river's edge, like in some sort of weird tower that was covered in a dress or whatever. And obviously it was just like, oh, these people are rich, ridiculous fools, and they're making this little presentation of themselves. And so obviously it wasn't necessarily meant to be taken seriously, but I felt like they used that to lean into the look of the movie, and that leaning in just didn't do it any good.
No, I don't think so. And I don't know, killing the character, the one dude that hopped from movie to movie. What was his name?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Book.
Like I like that reveal in that scene, but like the crazy. Yeah. I just didn't like that he had to die. Like it felt like so unnecessary.
Yeah.
I also do you think can you, as a person who liked these more than me, can you feel the growth of Hercule Poirot from movie to movie? Because the lesson from the first movie is that sometimes the good and bad is not all that dissimilar.
Right.
And that sometimes good people do bad things, and sometimes bad people have bad things happen to them, or whatever. Yeah. I'm sure you could put that in a more poetic way, but I don't know if that doesn't seem like it tracks. Like there's no.
Okay. Yeah. I think that there was no show of that in the second one. Like what he had learned and taken with him from that first story doesn't come into play in any sort of way in the second one. He's not led to use any of those new paradigms or like operate within that space in any kind of way. It's just like totally different thing. So it definitely doesn't track through. Which I didn't mind because it's like he kind of sort of learns other things in the second one, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. What does he learn in the second one? Because I
think he learns that he's not as stable a person as he thinks he is. Because he makes comments here and there about how, I think it was in Orient Express, about how he no, actually it was in Death on the Nile, how he doesn't worry about dating and things because he's he wants to use his brain for one things. Yeah. The one thing he wants to use his brain for is to solve mysteries, and dating people doesn't help him do that or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so he likes to think of himself as a perfectly logical, being. Not capable of being thrown by people's antics because he doesn't get subjective. He doesn't worry about himself or how things feel or whatever. It's all about the facts. He thinks of himself as that. And actually they kind of point a finger to that with the singer character and her niece / manager. I don't remember their names, but the niece, she kind of points a finger to that about you think you're this, you know what I mean? How he views himself. And by the end of the movie, he learned that he's not as hinged as he might have suspected, because his friend dies, and then while yes he does go straight to cracking the case, it's still he can't help but wield a gun in the process of doing it, of seeking justice for Book. He's not just in the first one he's brought to shout with passion in some sense here and there, but it's different. It's he's pained and he is subjective, totally subjective, and at a certain point it might not matter what the facts are because he gets pushed a little more by something, and I could easily see him shooting someone in that room. So I think that's what he learned, is that even at his age, with all his life experience, his vision of himself might be errored,
Okay. Damn.
I don't know if that was something worthwhile for the movie, but I think he did learn that.
Okay. I mean, I just couldn't pick up on it.
Okay.
But yeah, I believe that. I don't know. I just wish I was more into the movies. Kind of sucks.
I wish you were too. I wish that we could enjoy this together.
And passionately be in love with Hercule Poirot. Dude, pirate. I can't do it. I can't
Hercules
do it.
Pirate.
Hercules Pirate.
Oh, dude, did you know that John Malkovich plays that character in a BBC series?
I did not.
It's called The ABC Murders, and I really want to watch it because, I watched the trailer, and his portrayal is definitely distinct from Kenneth Branagh's portrayal, and I suspect that Branagh's is more similar to, the old movies. I don't know, because I haven't seen them, but I suspect that's what they're going for. But Malkovich's just seems a little more Holmesian, but still has, the quirky nature. It looks really good. And okay. I'd like to check it out.
Sounds sick.
Yeah.
Better than Sherlock?
Probably, honestly. I liked Sherlock, but
I can't remember.
I feel like it. Yeah, same. It has limited utility, and I think it wrung itself dry and then kept going.
I think I watched a video that was kind of lambasting the special effects for Sherlock.
Oh.
And it kind of, because the way that the words come on screen when he's in his mind palace.
Yeah.
It's a lot more ridiculous than you would remember it as.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's get positive about Death on the Nile.
Okay.
Again, I think where all these movies shine is the characters. I think this is probably my favorite iteration of Hercule's mustache.
The mustache?
Because it has like double layers on this one, or is that in the first one?
It has double layers in all of them, but
there's one where it's more pronounced.
The first one.
Okay.
I loved his mustache in the first one. It's like just the hair that's like cut short to the skin. Like he has a whole thing going out to the side of his face, like a whole mustache of just short buzzed hair, and then on top of it a mustache grown from his lip outward lengthwise over it. It's just like craziest, most gigantic, awesome, hilarious mustache I've ever seen. I love it in the first one, and they really dumb it down in the next two.
The first one has the best mustache, so Death and Nile can't claim that. Damn it, I was really trying for that. I do kind of like the tension that he has when he's like, can I be in love again? I don't know if we needed the backstory that we got in this one.
Right.
It seems like it seems like it's too late. Like we were going to learn about that in more depth.
Yeah, it's like I don't care at this point.
it did bring me to realize that he mentions it in Orient Express, his wife.
Yeah, he has the little locket thing.
Yeah, and he kind of mentions her in passing, and then this one it becomes like this thing, but not really. There's no like real reason.
My coworker called it the origin story of his mustache, and like that's straight up like that seems to matter more in that scene than like the whole loss of his love thing.
Oh yeah, because he has a scar on his face.
It was used just to tell us why he has a mustache, like as if he needs a reason. It's like people grow mustaches, like.
And then in this one, the mustache isn't even long enough to cut that.
I know, yeah.
Or to cover it.
Silly.
Whatever, man. I do like how the reveal is done, and then they're like, oh, it was red paint and blah blah blah.
Yeah, that was good.
And then they explain like he had to go to like that whole stuff, like how it ended up working out. I think was interesting, but overall, it's not an interesting conclusion. Like when you say the husband did it, like everyone assumes the husband did it.
Yeah,
it's the easiest way for money. I also didn't like how the maid, like why was the husband allowed to be in there on questioning?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's not very good investigative work.
No, because then the maid would never have sold him out in the same room because that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I really hadn't stopped and thought about that, but that is that is why everything went as badly as it went.
Yeah, biggest oversight. But I don't know. But yeah, the character, I like Book a lot more because Book is actually like a focus in this one. Mm-hmm. And then just by the time you like it, he dies. Don't mute yourself, man. I want to hear you chew.
Busted.
Busted. I'm just kidding. You can do whatever.
Yeah, totally though. He goes from being just a funny presence in the first one to like someone whose experience you care about, like his feelings and the relationship with, and his disapproving mother, and
and very tragic when even before he dies, when it's just like the reveal that he did something wrong, and you can just see Hercule being really hurt by that. Like,
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's all I got for Nile as well. Yeah. It was kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, crazy. Armie Hammer was in that movie.
Dude. So they delayed the release of that one because him being a weirdo came out like as they were about to release it.
And then the next time you would see it, he was removed from every trailer. He was like not a prominent person on the poster.
Mm-hmm. And then they totally like they released that movie sneakily. They basically delayed it for like I want to say like a year and a half or something crazy.
Is also a little COVID? Wasn't there a little bit of COVID in the delay?
Probably. But yeah, then by the time it was like, probably they had COVID delays, and then by the time they could release it, it was then that like Armie Hammer was like outed as a creep, and And so then it's like they kind of felt like they couldn't, and I think that led to further delays. So when they did release it, it was like they released it like in the dead of night. Like just
nobody
all of a
talked
sudden
about it.
Yeah, one day it was like in the theater and it hadn't been having promotion in the recent weeks or anything like that. It was just like in the theater one day and it ran for like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, it was like sneaky.
Yeah.
And I understand why, but it's unfortunate that a single person can go and ruin a whole like
production,
freaking $100 million project.
Yeah, with so many other people that are involved and whose credits may. It's better for their names to be in the credits on a release movie rather than on an unreleased movie.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyways, Death on Nile. That one's Haunting in Venice. When I went and saw it, the opening of it, I really didn't think I would like it.
Okay.
Because the opening was very, I don't know, weird.
Like on the nose with Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the opening, like returning to Poirot and showing where he's at and stuff?
Yeah, like the stuff when it's like, I don't know, when they do that camera shot of like all the pigeons on the ground and then the bird just flies at the camera. It all felt like very weird editing until we got into the house. And then once we were in the house, I think it took me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after all the kids leave. All the kids being there was also very weird.
Yeah. Setup altogether was a little weird. I liked them leaning into the Halloween thing.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the like shadow light puppet show. Thing they did. That was fun. Kind of
explains
creative.
The backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those exaggerated. I just like the look of how those are done and how those are projected.
Yeah, it really looked cool. Quite creative. You said about the pigeons, it reminded me of something. Oh, yeah. One thing that I thought was kind of funny, and I'm not certain about, but I think is the case, is that at the end when Poirot is standing on the on the dock and or like on the sidewalk or whatever, and they're boating out away from him to like take those 2 kids to the Americas and go live a life or whatever.
To St. Louis.
That's right. On the shot that's on Poirot with them coming like boating toward the camera, on that shot, I can't remember, a duck or a pigeon, probably a duck. It was like a waterfowl. Flies in and does like a little loop and then lands in the water just right in the middle of the shot. And I doubt that was a production bird. Like, I think that was just a random duck made its way into the shot in a very beautiful way. And they happened to catch it on a good take. And so it really just added to the shot. And then on the reverse, when it's, behind Poirot and the boat's going away, I'm pretty sure they digitally put a duck floating on the water right there to match it because they wanted to use that take. I think that's what happened, and I'm not sure. I could have been tricking myself into believing that because when it flew and landed, I was just like, how lucky is that? Like, that duck didn't have a mark, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like
unless
that's so
it was
cool.
CGI.
Could have been. Like, I could have just not spotted that. But then I was like, on the reverse, I looked for it to be like, oh, the duck's not going to be there on the reverse or whatever. And then it was there. And I remember, again, could have been tricking myself, but I was like, oh, it kind of looks like CGI. But I think that's what they did.
Got to do play-by-play.
Kind of fun. Yeah,
second by second. Try to catch that shit.
What did you think about his character's growth or anything he learned or what his experience was in this movie? Is there anything of substance there or anything interesting there?
Because by the end of this one, he doesn't want to retire anymore.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So it's kind of like is it that he feels like he lost his magic, or is it just that he isn't motivated to use it?
I'm trying to remember because he actually says something at the end of Death on the Nile.
Mm-hmm.
he says something about like retiring and just gardening in Venice.
Yeah.
Or in Italy or something. He says something like that, which is where we pick up on him. Like,
yeah.
But I don't remember what the idea was. If he was just tired or what.
It seems like it's just like well, because in Death on the Nile, before he starts investigating, because it takes him forever to actually start taking the case seriously.
Right,
I guess
right.
until the actual murder happens, which would make sense.
Sure.
So I don't know. And then in this one, because I guess the character growth is that there is interest in the world still. Is that what it is? Because like he sees the ghost. Because the only reason he goes to the house is because he wants to disprove the ghost.
Right.
And then when he ultimately, maybe can't, it kind of re-sparks the whole thing, like the excitement for him.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, so he had like a fitting challenge again, is kind of what it amounted to.
Yeah. And that makes sense. For some reason, I just liked him a lot more. And maybe it was because in this one, it takes away all of that sheen that I didn't like. Well, okay. So I don't think why I didn't like the opening, like leading up to the house, is because all of that again was like the too much.
Fair.
But then when we get to the house, it leans more into those like horror aspect where like the camera's very close, the angles are all wonky, and like the house is ruined all over. You can feel like the decay.
Yep, and they're always doing depth of field stuff, always having something blurry.
Yeah.
Like something could come out of anywhere.
Like I think that just like the style of this one just worked a lot better for me.
Yeah. I get that. It was a cool style. I liked it. I think his character was like he was still Poirot, but he was probably a little less caricature-y in this one. Like he had his like quirky stuff in the beginning and whatnot. But it was once it took on the horror vibe and he started encountering weird stuff, like he became more of a serious, like steadily serious figure.
He has OCD, right?
He must. I don't think it was ever like stated. Well, and who knows if that was even a diagnosis back then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they state it in the movies, but he must, because he's literally like, you remember in Death on the Nile, he's just like, oh no, I have to have 6 so he can make a little pyramid out of his like desserts or whatever. Like it can't be 7.
It seems more of like a silly OCD rather than
like almost harmless.
Yeah. But it's like the only things it affects is his food and his eggs. Because if his eggs are the same size,
they need to be the same size.
He's not even hungry.
Freaking in the first one, do you remember how he like steps in like camel poop or horse poop?
Yeah,
or something?
And he has to step in it again in order. So it's equal.
Yeah, he goes. It is not the. The guy goes, oh, sorry about the, and he doesn't say the word crap or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he
doesn't say the word
it's not
poopy.
about the, it is about the imbalance of the, it's just like such a funny line. Just refuses to say the word.
Then he goes, yeah. Anyway, that was random. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it ever actually comes up in any real moment, though.
Right.
Like, it's not like talking about Monk. It's not like in Monk where the whole show, which maybe is also not great because that's just a caricature of OCD, but the whole show is based on how is he going to solve this crime when also the painting isn't fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny though because they managed to do that. They managed to poke fun at it like nearly constantly, but then they also do touch on the tragedy of OCD like throughout the show as well. It's very good.
But also sometimes the painting being knocked over is the reason Monk finds out that it was a murder.
Yeah.
I thought the mystery in this one was it's the least cheaty of them all.
Sure. Yeah.
It also is still very obvious. I mean, maybe Munchausen
Yeah.
syndrome is something that like we know about more today.
Sure.
So it's just like maybe Agatha Christie was speaking on some real vibes, some real deep
Yeah.
shit.
Maybe.
I still don't think that still wasn't my first conclusion.
Same. I'm trying to remember what like right at the first, like as soon as she's dead, I'm like, oh, the little half siblings did it. Like,
yeah.
That was my first conclusion, and that was like one of the first things addressed, and they were like, nope. I was like, oh, I feel dumb.
Yeah. I mean, this one, it could have been the husband, but then, of the daughter.
Yeah. The former fiance.
I was wondering if they were going to go in the route of are ghosts real?
Yeah.
And they kind of did, but I was like, but then I was like, it's not Indiana Jones, so they're not going to do very hard proof if it is.
Yeah.
But then when they started showing like all the like the trippiness and like the little girl who's obviously the daughter, by the time we got through that, and then like I don't know, is that reveal interesting? He was being drugged.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
This is kind of hard because I feel like these movies are very much like, now that we've had years upon years of these same things in these tropes and everything, they're not as unique to us now. So it's really hard to put my mindset into someone that doesn't know these tropes.
Right, for sure.
And I don't even watch that many whodunits. I just, this is stuff you pick up from osmosis because...
Absolutely. It's in pop culture.
Yeah, every cartoon has at least one Agatha Christie episode.
Yeah, for real.
You've played the game Clue 100 times.
Right. Yep.
True
that.
But yeah, but I think this is one also, because this is the only one I ever watched in the theater.
Okay.
So I think I was actually able to pay attention to the conversations more, and then...
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was. I felt it was like worthwhile installment in the series, even though I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. I didn't. That me liking them in declining order like doesn't make me think that the series is going downhill. It feels more like happenstance, but that like there's plenty of value in this series and like plenty of life still if they want to continue to develop them. I think that in my estimation they'd have a hard time matching Orient Express with any future installments, but like they could, like the next one could be the second best one in the series, you know what I mean, like in my ranking. I feel like they definitely still have like high potential with Kenneth Branagh at the helm. Anyway,
it is interesting that it's finally, because they've had these movies remade a couple of times, or at least like the series. This is like, I think one of the only, like the second run where it's like the same dude playing and the same director for multiple.
Okay, that's cool.
I don't know that for sure, but I think it is one of the longer ones.
Yeah, that's kind of neat, huh?
Yeah.
It's been a satisfying thing, I think.
Darn it. I think I lost it. Pick it up. Chaos.
We're spiraling. Pull up.
We need to write something quick. That'll make this interesting. Alien. Put an alien in your background.
Got it. Yep. Will do.
I don't want to edit that. I don't want to do that. It's too much work. I think the same things that I liked about all the other ones are still here too, where it's like the cast is really good. I really like Michelle Yeoh. I like the theatrics of the the haunting or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and that was it's like that's immediately proven fake. But then like somehow
Yeah.
it still makes you believe like maybe some of it was real, and she just needed
Right.
to fake a little bit of it, a little bit of the spice.
Right. And actually, yeah, they don't force you to buy one thing or the other, or to like believe one thing or the other, because they just present you with all of the takes on the situation. The two siblings had very different takes.
Yeah.
And apart from them, like everyone else's take was a little different. And you kind of, all of them like equally sufficiently explain everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So anywhere on the spectrum from the phenomenon is real to the phenomenon is fake, anywhere on that spectrum, you can just kind of like choose what you want it to be.
I also like that they have like the nanny is like a devout, and she's like fully into it, but then it's like, well, why'd you come? And like I liked all those dynamics.
Yeah.
The mid piece reveal where the author was just tricking him to go there. That was interesting.
Yeah. That was interesting. Tina Fey.
Yeah, I did like Tina Fey a lot.
Yeah.
Was she better than Book though?
No, she was not, but she was good.
Yeah. Book from Death of the Nile will always be the GOAT, maybe.
Amen.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of out of things though. What about you?
I think that might be all I have on Haunting in Venice as well.
Anything we missed on the other ones? Any last overarching thoughts about Hercule Poirot? Where you think the next movie is going to go?
I don't know. I just don't know Agatha Christie's works, so I can't predict it.
I bet someone already knows.
I'm excited. Yeah. Actually, like they probably have already even announced it. Who knows?
Teased by producer. Let's see.
Ooh.
Oh, this is breaking news. Probably not. Fuck. I have to read like a. There's no.
Pull up.
Get out of here. I'm sure you could probably just if you. Dude, I wonder if they go in order of the actual book series.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself. I don't know.
Or if the book series is all that connected in the first place.
Sure, because they could just be in name only and then just kind of do their own thing.
Yeah, where it's like, this guy's famous detective man. He does all detective things. I mean, and then like the light. It is crazy that all of these mysteries happen like when he's not supposed to be doing a mystery. Like the first one, he's he's on vacation, and the next one he's just like on it. He's invited somewhere for a small break, and then this one it's like he's literally retired.
Yeah, murder just happens all like around him. He's always just happens to be where a murder happens to happen.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like a trope in like detective stories. But like usually, especially these days, they do a good job of like trying to explain it away. Like, well, no, it's reasonable that it happened, because in this one, I feel like they don't even try. It's just like wherever he is, a murder just happens to happen. As if.
I mean, they were kind of going into someone's house and then like poking the bear a little bit by saying, "We know who killed your daughter."
Sure.
And it turns out she killed her daughter, and then shit breaks loose. Yeah. I did after these. I ended up watching all of Poker Face, the Rian Johnson created TV show on Peacock.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a not the same thing as a whodunit, because you know who. So every episode, to a certain point, it starts. You find out who was murdered and who did it. And then Natasha Lyonne, she's the Charlie, the main character. She then is introduced midway through the episode, and then she has to solve it. So like you know the ending. You may not know why they killed, or like you need to like figure out all that, but you're just trying to find out how she finds out.
Interesting.
And then the ploy, or like the gimmick, is that Natasha Lyonne's character is a lie detector.
Okay.
Hence, like poker face, poker, blah blah blah.
Gotcha. Okay. Right on.
It's pretty good.
That
and
sounds
now,
good.
I don't know. Murder mysteries are fun, and I want to watch more.
They are, yeah.
I think that.
And
Sorry, go on.
Sorry. I was gonna say I love that they're having like a bit of a heyday right now, or a revival maybe. I don't know, between Rian Johnson and Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, it's exciting that both Kenneth Branagh from the ending of this movie, and then also Rian Johnson is already confirmed to be making another one. That they're just gonna keep going.
I'm so glad. They deserve it.
True. Okay, next time. Let's talk about next time.
Let's
talk about how does time work. So, Dumb Money, Saw X, Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie.
So here's the problem.
Uh-huh.
I want to see all of those.
Shit. The Kill Room. And if we wanted to take it to October 6th, we have The Exorcist Believer.
I'm so not looking forward to The Exorcist.
It's probably not going to be great. Or if we wait until October 13th, we can review the Taylor Swift The Eras Tour.
Goody.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if we just do Creator, Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie. I'm sorry, well, no Paw Patrol. The Creator, Dumb Money, Saw X, and The Exorcist.
I think the one I'm the most excited for out of those is The Creator. But I only became aware of Dumb Money via a poster yesterday, and just I haven't seen a trailer, but just based on the cast, I'm like, oh no, this is probably the one. Like, it's probably gonna be awesome.
Dumb Money has everything going for it. That I think, because I like the cast: Paul Dano, Vincent D'Onofrio, other people, and then it's also directed by Craig Gillespie, if that's how you say it. He directed I, Tonya, and I really like I, Tonya.
Okay.
I didn't like Cruella
I
that
never
much.
Saw it. Oh, he did that one. Okay.
Yeah, that one didn't do it for me. But
I didn't realize that this is about the GameStop. Pump and dump. So well, it wasn't a pump and dump. It was an accidental
pump. I mean, it was still fucking shady as fuck. Whatever happened. Whatever your opinion on GameStop and putting all of your savings into a gambling market to hopefully fuck over someone richer than you. I like that's a thing that I'm not entirely like everything around it, the actors, the people involved, like it has to be good. But then when the subject is the GameStop thing that happened in 2020, I just don't know if that's what makes me excited. 2021. You know? Yep,
I hear you.
Anyways.
But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And then Saw X will probably be horrible.
Probably. But I've seen every one of the movies in that series, and I'm
you're not stopping now.
For curiosity's sake, I have to. Yeah,
not stopping now. Never a bad Saw movie ever.
Not in one.
And if we do put this in the video, then don't completely trust this.
Yeah.
Because maybe Saw X is just not that fun to talk about.
Right.
Anyways, I think that's everything I got.
Same here. That was good. Thank you guys for joining us and watching. Those of you who did, those of you who don't,
we'll never know. Yeah, we know where all other 8 billion of you are. I'm gonna find your asses. You just wait.
But thank you for joining us, and we'll be back at it in 2 weeks. And anyway, have a good night.